Incredible. Amazing.
And welcome to episode 217 of the most must-see award-winning show to ever hit the Bedford TV airways, or any airways for that matter, north, south, east, west, backwards, frontwards, sideways, diagonally, any which way you look at it, all around the world, the Wrestling Connection. I am your host, your connection to the wrestling world, the pontiff, the pro wrestling populace, the savant god of the squared circle, the perfect Ken, Mr. Ken Hill, delivering all the news to you in professional wrestling today. And alongside me, as always,
the consumer of wrestling knowledge, the prize fighter of the Wrestling Connection, the legacy of Team Kaufman, the dragon with the gold, the breaker of Kens, Dan Kaufman here as well.
And, well, feeling a little broken coming out of Backlash. Obviously, due to my co-host cohort, I came up a scooch short in the Backlash proceedings, but I can take some pride in the fact that I did better than one person on the Wrestling Connection staff that day.
Well,
how you feel? Speaking of whom, in the out of control room today, we have the one, the only, Mr. 8-Ball himself, the resident gambler of the Wrestling Connection, Mr. Nick Giglio. He's speechless.
Speechless, got it.
For once, he's speechless. But anyway, we'll get to Nick. We'll get to Nick in a little bit. But right now, we got Backlash. We got a few interesting news tidbits to cover. You know, let's just get out of the way. Because I know you weren't huge on Backlash. I know a lot of people weren't huge on Backlash. I wasn't too big, but I mean, there were a couple of bright spots. And, you know, let's start out with one of the... Let's start with one of them right here and now. I'm talking about the Intercontinental Championship match. Seth Rollins defending against a former 8-time champion, the A-lister, The Miz. Now this is Miz's last chance to bring the championship with him, as he was drafted over to SmackDown, and Rollins remained on Raw as Intercontinental Champion. So, as you can imagine, Miz pulled out all the stops for this.
You know, it shows a lot of credit to the two of them when you could basically have just as much speed and consistency as their triple threat, minus Finn Balor.
I think so too. And Miz his star continues to rise as an excellent counter wrestler. Basically, he has his opponents scouted so well. He has this curb stomp. He has the buckle bomb. He has every trademark, every signature of Rollins, like every opponent he goes up against, so well scouted, and it just makes it much more. His match is much more smoother. He knows them so well, and it doesn't even have to be complicated counters. Could be just a kick, could just be a boot, a punch, could just be slipping out the back. Miz, even if he doesn't have the most fantastic moveset of a wrestler, I think he's the most well-rounded, one of the more well-rounded technicians WWE has on their roster right now.
Which is amazing to say, because, you know, just a few years ago, people were saying, you know, they were saying what Daniel Bryan was saying. He's the safe wrestler. He's the one whose moves don't look that dangerous. You know, they push him as the top of the mid card. But it's nowadays when people really give him credit. It took him a long time to get there.
Right, because you could even make a comparison, like a natural comparison, to Glacier. Big. I mean, not big in terms of attacking or speed, but more in terms of defense. Just how much can he take, and how much can he make his opponents trip up? That's what's great. That's what's great about the Miz. Rollins, on the other hand, proved every bit the resilient champion. Just stayed in there, fighting, and that's what I've liked about Rollins in 2018. It's just that he has this reinvigorated spirit about him. He just every match looks crisp. Every time he gets in the ring, he looks better and better. And against Miz was no different. They had a fantastic back and forth match.
Very true.
Very believable. Many times, I thought that Miz might honestly. I was going with Rollins. You picked Miz for me, which I didn't have much of a problem with. I honestly thought there were times where Miz might actually take the championship with him.
It's amazing to say, but if you really think about it, you can compare this to the Kenny Omega Chris Jericho match.
Exactly.
Where you come into it thinking you're pretty sure you know how it's going to go, but they make it seem time and time again that it might go the way you're not expecting.
Exactly. And Miz had so many great near falls in this match. Off the first skull crushing finale, off of the second one, off of a counter.
How many people kick out of 2 skull crushing finales?
Not many. Not even Rollins' friend Roman Reigns. Not even Reigns kicked out 2 skull crushing finales.
This really goes to show back when Seth was heel and he was with Triple H didn't push Roman. He was saying Rollins is the future of this company. And this is what shows that he really could be.
I think so. And aside from Strowman, if I had to pick a guy at this point who I feel like could not only match up against Lesnar, but could be the one to possibly dethrone Lesnar, I might have to say Rollins.
I would love to see him go for a curb stomp and a Phoenix Splash just to make sure he puts Lesnar away.
I'd love to see that too. I think
wouldn't that literally make Lesnar like the first person to get hit and get pinned by a Phoenix Splash from Seth?
That would be something. Because we've seen Rollins put so many people away with it in the past. Before he came to WWE.
Yeah.
I would love to see it come out more as, like you said, that big finisher. He has so many aerial maneuvers. He has the flying knee. He has the frog splash. The high fly, the super high fly flow, if you will. Just such
that distance he got on that frog splash too.
It's crazy. He like I said, every year he gets better and better and better.
And now we finally have him where he's the fan favorite too. It took him a while.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Where did he start out? He started out as a heel in the Shield, then became a face, then became a heel in the singles division underneath Triple H's wing. And now now he had his redemption story against Triple H, against the Authority. Now he's a fan favorite. That's how it works, Vince. That's how it works.
That's honestly, it really goes to show if Roman is Vince's boy and Seth is Triple H's boy, it really goes to show how the
fact
future
that
is going to
Rollins
be.
is the far more successful and far more embraced of the two.
Absolutely.
All right. So moving on,
we gush over this because it does not get better than this on the show.
It really doesn't. This is where the roller coaster dips down.
The next match I didn't think was too terrible up until after the match.
Which one are you thinking?
Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax.
Alexa versus Nia. This was the rematch of the Raw Women's Championship from WrestleMania. Now, it wasn't bad. Alexa came out as the aggressor here, which made sense. She was trying to undermine Nia. But as commentary actually pointed out smartly for once, this was either going to undermine Nia or only just invigorate her and cite her further, which would be not so beneficial for Alexa, considering she's literally half Nia's size.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, they did end up backfiring on Alexa. Nia did end up picking up a somewhat dominant victory over Alexa with a Samoan drop.
A lot of people have been saying, Alexa should have been squashed immediately. Honestly, Alexa has been a dominant champion. Through hook or crook, sure, fine, but whatever. It doesn't change the fact that she's been proven time and again that she's been smart in how she does this. Right. And it's also been shown that Nia isn't exactly the smartest in between the ring. In between the ropes.
Right.
She, every time she gets taken out, it's by her own mistake. The post or the steps.
A couple examples in the match where, because she tried going to the top rope when she's not known for being, obviously she's a big woman. She's not known for for aerial maneuvers like Alexa is with Twisted Bliss. So obviously that backfired on her. But ultimately, she still managed to come out through just her sheer size and strength alone. Now, speaking of that size, that was part of her post-match speech. Now, here's the thing. We understand that a big part of her character is the fact that she is a full-figured woman who feels slighted upon by those who see her as being just, too different. Someone who that most people wouldn't be able to get behind. Most people pick on because they're different, because they're larger, because they're fatter. And I mean, believe me, I can empathize with that. You can empathize with that.
We can, and we feel for that. We do. Two things. The first one, she's a model.
Exactly. She's a plus size model.
If you actually go into her backstory, she is a model. She still models, I think, at times.
Exactly.
You can't have body self-esteem issues if you're a model. Like, if you're willing to put yourself out there and show that you're beautiful and all that stuff, why do you think they focus on her eyes every time she comes out?
Exactly, and that's the message she tries to convey, is that, okay, she's not ashamed of who she is, and that we should all accept who we are. And I think that's a great message in this day and age. I mean, a little generic, a little kind of like a little too obvious, but I mean, it's a good message nonetheless.
Yes.
Where it veers into very skeevy territory is when she says 3 words that just like grate my ears every time.
So when we want to root for someone, we want them to feel genuine.
Right.
When that genuineness or the sincerity is questioned because put into question because you say something that you would not say unless you were scripted from the back, that's when we have an issue.
Right.
Be a star.
Now, don't get me wrong. When this is used like sarcastically, like by other podcasters, by other show hosts, that's fine. I mean, okay, we all get it. Okay, it's their big anti-bully campaign, and there's been a lot brought against it. There's a lot for it. It's a very divisive campaign, to say the least. But when you literally just use one of your superstars, just go out there as a platform, and not even a subtle one. She literally just went out there and said, be a star. Like barely any lead up to it. And look, it's fine, okay? You want to get the message across, anti-bully message across, good for you.
You want to have a good way of doing it? Actually say, before or after the match, whatever, you dedicate the match to the promotion because you understand how important it is. That way, you're seen as if you believe in it fully.
I mean, if Stephanie McMahon is going to invest in the whole philanthropy is the future of marketing, which I still think is a somewhat disturbing notion, somewhat sociopathic. If she's going to invest in it, then she needs to follow the proper steps and not just plant someone out there just to say, "Oh, be a star." Okay, go through the proper steps. Make it a genuine part of the storyline. Don't just force it down our throats like your dad is with Roman Reigns, because it's going to end up going the same way. It's just going to end up getting regurgitated, and no one's going to want to hear it or see it.
No one's going to remember this match now. It's all going to be the after.
Exactly, and it wasn't a bad match.
No, this is the second best match in the show, I thought.
Honestly, okay, and that leads us into the other women's title match, which I feel like, again, that divisiveness comes up here.
Okay,
I'm talking about the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Carmella defending against Charlotte.
So this is weird because the only way I can see this really working out is if they can honestly consider WrestleMania a reset. You can't see anything before WrestleMania. After WrestleMania happened, it's like it never happened. You know why? Because if you consider what happened at WrestleMania, it shows that Charlotte beat Asuka and beat the streak, something no one's been able to do. And Carmella has been seen as a joke who is only an opportunistic wrestler. She takes advantage to do that.
But just like any other Money in the Bank holder.
But at any other situation, she could not hold a candle to Charlotte. So what happens?
So again, all right. So I mean, and when you say, "Oh, but everyone," and like you just said, Ken, everyone's been opportunistic. Edge has been opportunistic. Really, the only people that cashed in ahead of time were RVD and John Cena. Everyone always tried to get a jump on their opponents. Damien Sandow did. Edge did. Edge did twice. CM Punk did twice. So
We have no issue with her cashing in.
Rollins cashed in at WrestleMania. So during a match where Reigns and Lesnar had pretty much beaten each other to death. But here, but the problem is Carmella is not what you call a catch as can kind of wrestler. I mean, she's still a little green around the gills. I mean, it's not like she hasn't had the time to hone her craft since being down in NXT and since coming up to the main roster. But she isn't someone that's been built up as someone we could buy as, if she cashes in, I think she's got a legit shot. I mean, they basically had to have Charlotte beaten half to death before having her come out.
Yep, and that worked perfectly fine. I do not mind her as champion cashing in the way she did. I mind the fact that in her first defense, she didn't need any help at all. She didn't need anyone trying to take Charlotte down a peg before she can just kick a knee out, and all of a sudden that means that the shoulders can't go up at 3.
So, and I mean, there are a couple of things. Surrounding this that I think might have contributed to that. One was the fact that we found out afterwards that Charlotte had unfortunately suffered a ruptured implant, which meant that maybe she was more focused on that and not worried about selling the struggle on trying to kick out. That might have been one reason why the ending came off so flat. Another, and I look at this from a more broad sense, is that it felt like that they kind of had the dichotomy here, the face-heel dichotomy here kind of like switched up. Like you had Carmella coming in as the plucky underdog champion, whereas you had Charlotte coming in as the overconfident former champion who felt like winning the title back was an afterthought. And here's the thing, though, but you had Charlotte as the face and Carmella as the heel. That's where I'm thinking this kind of gets switched up here. And then Carmella gets a win just off of a simple mistake that Charlotte made, which is usually something that a face takes advantage of over a underdog face takes advantage of over a heel. Which is also why I think this came off so flat, because no nefariousness from Carmella, no help, like you said, no help from the Iconics, which surprised me.
That's the one that really hurts. The Iconics seem like they don't care. The Iconics should want to be as close to the title as possible, and Carmella is way easier to deal with than Charlotte.
Right.
That would show that they're smart. If the three of them came together and actually took Charlotte out and made it so she had to leave for a while because she was too beaten up to continue, that's another way to get her off with the injuries. Instead, the Iconics seem like they don't care about the title, which is the worst thing you can do, because that makes the Iconics not care about something which they would strive for. I want to see what Carmella can do. I don't think this is the way they should have done it.
I don't think so either. I mean, it's a good thing. Charlotte did get back into Money in the Bank, so at least she has a chance to work her way back up. However, we haven't considered who else might find her way into Money in the Bank. We might find Asuka making her way into Money in the Bank. We might find, you never know. We might find Becky making her way into Money in the Bank, and Naomi, among others. And there's also Ember Moon, who also qualified for Women's Money in the Bank. So there will be a lot of interesting factors going into that particular Money in the Bank match as to who will come out, with the briefcase, with that big old coupon in hand. So moving on to the next match, it was a personal grudge match between Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. Now you noted to me before we started that there were a couple of interesting news pieces in this that may have led to this match being much more shorter and one-sided than we originally anticipated. Do we got the Daniel Bryan Big Cass photo? Nick? Okay. I'll have it brought up shortly. All right. So getting to the match. So Daniel Bryan won. Bryan won after managing to lock in the Yes Lock after a short, brutal match.
Wasn't that his first singles match?
It was his first singles match
with a definitive winner.
A definitive winner, and Now, I mean, I understand. I mean,
Good for Daniel Bryan. Happy to have that.
good for him. I mean, this was his first foray back into big pay-per-view matches.
Yeah.
So I understand, obviously, giving him the win.
It didn't look good.
It didn't. Well, it looked good for Bryan. I mean,
It looked good for Bryan.
He got
Fine.
in. He got in his greatest hits.
The David versus Goliath thing, you know.
There was no problem there. The problem was Cass, and I mean, he looked exposed. He looked flat. I mean, pretty much all he was good for was just that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he basically just spent most of the time just kind of like shrugging and tossing Bryan around, which I mean, okay, it's fine, but when you spend that much time away from the ring, I mean, we hope that you kind of put some moderate offense together, and he really didn't.
You know, there was a reason why he worked as well as he did in tag team, because when you're in a tag team, you make up for the other person.
Exactly. When he comes in for Enzo, he's the hot tag. He's the house on fire.
There's a reason why people say Heath Slater's finisher is Rhino.
Exactly. Because as soon as Rhino gets tagged in, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Heath even acknowledged it on episode Talking Smack once. Okay, I tag you in, you hit the gore, we collect a paycheck, we go home.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with Enzo and Cass. And problem is, without Enzo, without the mouthpiece, Cass looks that much more exposed.
Cass can't last a long match. He doesn't have enough moves to keep it fresh.
Right. He needs to expand his moveset a little bit. I mean, he's gotten better at talking. I mean,
yes, he's gotten better at talking.
He's gotten much better. But unfortunately, it's the same downside. It's the same promo with. I mean, he had the one promo with the little person, impersonator, impersonating Daniel Bryan. Yeah. Now, it was all well and good. Okay, I mean, it's not like the first time little people have been used before to get a point across. You know, John Cena versus Kurt Angle, Booker T and Undertaker, Booker T and The Rock. So obviously, I mean, Booker T and Goldust. Not the first time a little person has been used, and obviously the big example being Hornswoggle. But here, unfortunately, Cass supposedly, and this is just according to the wrestling news feed, that Cass, after giving
the big boot
to the impersonator,
which was allowed,
which was planned, he wanted to take it a step further and kind of put a little pummeling to the impersonator, which Vince said no to.
A little while ago, you know, that might have been okay. But the problem, because you want to show that, you know, you want to have that edge. You want to show that you're willing to take it a step farther. Right. But the thing is, there's going to be that moment when you go against what Vince says, and then he doesn't look.
And here's the thing: when you've been there many years, you have that sort of coupon. You have that sort of out. Like, okay, here you go. Here's my one. Here's like your one freebie. If you go too far during a segment or something, that's fine. But the thing is, Cass has not been in that position long enough to merit such an excuse.
It makes me worried. And think about it. Enzo thought he was such so high that he pushed that, and now Cass did, and now it's nowhere near as bad.
Look,
but it could be the start of something.
I understand wanting to like throw something in, but when Vince explicitly says no, I mean, unless you have the means to be able to excuse yourself later on, which he did not, then you can't go doing that. There's no excuse for it. I mean, Cass looked like he just lost a match. He could have just been let go. That's how easy it is. Yes. I mean, the saving grace is that he's 7 feet tall.
Yep.
That's it. That's the one. I think the one thing really keeping Cass, like even anywhere remotely on the roster right now, because if you go against, here's the thing. I've said my fair share and more against Vince, but if you step to your boss like that and deliberately tell him no, like Cass did, okay, you're on your own.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens to Cass there.
All right. So moving on to the next match, we had Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now, suffice to say, it was
the same match.
It was the same match as a couple weeks ago. Okay, Owens and Zayn were pretty much tossed around. Yep. Strowman bowled over people over and over again, which Owens did actually sell very, very well.
Oh,
so.
don't take away from Sammy and Kevin how well they make everyone else.
They make him look really good, but the one kind of like the one sore thumb sticking out here is
He looks like it.
yeah, big bruised sore thumb is Bobby Lashley, and I hate to say that about him. I mean,
I keep saying, he just debuted. Give him a chance. Give him his first single feud. Let's see what happens.
they're not doing it. I mean, they're kind of waiting. I mean, I could understand like, okay, like they had this whole segment on Raw where they introduced us to his family, to his sisters, who he loves and cares for very much. So maybe they're trying to get us to like kind of empathize with him before pulling the heel turn, which I guess would be fine. Like if you pull a heel turn out of the blue, it's kind of harder because then without any sort of like emotional background, why do we care about him turning heel? Give us a reason why we should care about Lashley turning heel.
I'm trying to think. It's like maybe they're trying to do the Jason Jordan route. You try it. You make him be so happy and wholesome to the point of nausea, and he keeps pushing it and pushing it to the people boo him.
Possibly. I mean, it could be that he's filling in the Jason Jordan role while Jordan's kind of sitting on the sidelines. I mean, but who knows?
Yeah. Really, there wasn't much to this match. It was very, very, very unlikely that Kevin and Sammy would take it, and all it did,
I think the only real shocking, the missed opportunity right here was like we said, turning Lashley heel.
Yeah.
So I mean, missed opportunity there. So really, the only other thing coming out of this was the following night on Raw, where Strowman beat Owens to qualify for Money in the Bank, which I'm kind of thrown by because Strowman at this point. It's like he's like Brian. He's at such an elevated point. He doesn't really need Money in the Bank. I mean, he's already got a legit claim to Lesnar in a Universal Championship match. He was never pinned in their triple threat match, including Kane. So I mean, he could just walk up, destroy Lesnar, and boom. I think he's got his match.
Yeah. But
anyway,
all that really means is most likely he's not going to win the belt, but instead it'll be fun to have him around talking to people.
Yeah, and.
Not belt,
and slamming him through God knows how many ladders.
Ooh. Power slam through a ladder?
Ooh, that's going to be fun.
Not to the person taking it.
But fun to us.
But you know what? We've been ignoring another championship that's been on this show.
And we're talking about the WWE Championship match. Well, we got the U.S. title.
And the U.S. title.
But we'll get to that one in just a second. The WWE Championship match, AJ Styles defending against his... former friend turned rival, evil nut-shutting rival, Shinsuke Nakamura. No disqualification match. Obviously, in Shinsuke's favor, since he's just been bending the rules left and right for the last few weeks, really trying to get under AJ's skin. Clearly, he did, because AJ was more adamant about getting revenge on Shinsuke rather than truly just going out there and defending the championship like he always does, going out and taking care of business. He wanted to take care of personal business more than professional business.
Right. I'm going to ask something specifically to the SmackDown writers. Road Dogg, you are one of the writers. Why has AJ not worn a cup yet? You did this with China. Why has AJ not thought to protect himself? Instead, you're going to get him hurt and then angry? Okay, have him be smart and angry. Just because he thinks the earth is flat doesn't mean he should be portrayed dumb. Okay?
He thinks the world is flat? You learn something new every day. Okay, anyway. I mean, this match was, I think, definitely a step above their match at the Greatest Royal Rumble and certainly a couple of steps above their match at WrestleMania. So gradually their matches have gotten better and better and better, little by little. I think the big beef everyone has with this, I can understand this, is that these aren't like the big 4 or 5 star affairs that we saw on in Wrestle Kingdom 10 in New Japan during 2016, shortly before both men came into World Wrestling Entertainment. But here's the thing, okay? When you're telling a storyline like this, when you use a big platform like WrestleMania, you gotta leave enough of an impression that people say, I want to see more of this. The fact is, even though the match itself didn't leave a big impression, the heel turn afterwards did. Yeah. We think back to WrestleMania 19 with Chris Jericho low-blowing Shawn Michaels after what was a very emotional moment after a very good match. Same thing here. Shinsuke turning his back on his former friend Styles, and AJ going out for revenge here. So you have to remember that mindset. Remember that mindset that AJ, he's looking for revenge. He's not just looking for the championship. He's looking for revenge.
I've been down on this feud. I like everything between the matches.
Right.
The matches have not blown me away.
But the storyline's
been great.
Been simple but great.
Yes. So I'm giving it till the final match, which I am going to assume is an I Quit match or something where a double down
last
will
man
not
standing, something along those lines. I think the point is people have to remember an old Confucius saying. Those who go seeking revenge on a journey of revenge need to dig 2 graves. One for the one they seek against and one for themselves. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. AJ is seeking revenge here. He's not focused on the championship, and I think that's what Shinsuke wants. Shinsuke wants AJ so dialed up and looking for vengeance that he forgets the fact that he's defending his championship. And he almost succeeded here, except, AJ got one back on him, thus both lost, thus both got tossed into the proverbial grave. So I think I like the story they told here. Maybe I didn't like the match wholesale, but I like the story that they've been gradually telling with each and every match. And like you said, once we get to that final match per se, that ultimate final act between the two, then I think we'll see that big quote unquote dream match that a lot of us have been anticipating since they both came into WWE.
All I'm saying is my patience runs thin, guys. You can't make me continue to care if you're not going to give me a reason to.
All right. So, second to last match we have on the card. Well, aside from the Bailey Wyatt pre-show act,
all you really need to know, Ruby
won.
Ruby won. Sasha didn't come to help.
There you go. Just continues the whole dissolution of the Bailey-Sasha partnership, which is going at a snail's pace at this point. So
it's been years in the making.
It might just take and it's going to be another 2-3 years in the making at this rate.
Will they? Won't they?
Will they? Won't they? All right, so now we come to the United States Championship match. Mm-hmm. This one was pretty cut and dry.
This is literally a Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton match that you would expect a Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton match to be.
Basically a high flyer being grounded by a profound technician in Randy Orton. Orton doing everything he could to ground Hardy. Succeeded for the most part. Led up for just one moment, which Hardy capitalized on, hit a twist of fate, swanton. 1, 2, 3.
Honestly, when's the last time Randy lost to a high-flying move that he didn't catch in an RKO? It's been a while.
Just about never.
I know.
But, I mean...
I thought Randy Orton literally had like a levitation thing in his back just to pop him up for an RKO if something like that happened.
Yeah, another rotation. Boom. RKO.
Yep.
All right, so anyway... Jeff would continue on to SmackDown to try and qualify for the men's Money in the Bank match against The Miz. Seemed like he was closing in much the same way he did against Orton, hitting the twist of fate in the swanton, only for Miz to have a last second counter, cradling Jeff for the 3 count.
This is weird. I mean, we're literally talking about having a Money in the Bank ladder match without a high-flying Jeff Hardy or the experts at ladder matches, which are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This is weired. Like, The Miz is a safe wrestler. I mean, nothing against him. He's a great counter wrestler.
He's a safe wrestler. I mean, and you have Strowman and
who's gonna be using the ladder more as a weapon than anything else.
Right, and himself,
and himself, of course. And
I didn't know you got your own fedora. And it's a spinning
anything to one up you. So yeah, this is gonna be. The only high flyer right now is Finn Balor.
True.
So, and maybe he'll finally get his revenge after Seth jumped the ladder to get the belt at the Rumble.
And you never know. We might just very well see that. Another step in the whole Rollins Balor feud.
Mm-hmm. So
anyway, this takes us to the last match.
I refuse to call it the main event.
I couldn't call it.
You want to know what this is? This is the go home event.
This is the go home event because basically you had.
Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe.
We are running a little short, so we'll get right through this. Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe. Joe jumping Reigns at the start, basically even before the bell, just beating him all over ringside. Giving him Uranagi through a table, a vicious looking one. So Joe looking to dominate, but then it was basically just like about 10-15 minutes of Joe basically just grounding Roman. There was nothing really exciting to it. Although it was somewhat interesting near the end where we saw Joe kick out of one spear. Mm-hmm. And then we saw Joe, for the first time, seemingly since coming up to the main roster, try and attempt the muscle buster.
Oh, yeah.
Which was interesting enough. But
you know, if that actually had connected, you would have gotten a pop. Absolutely.
I think so. I mean, just teasing it, people got a little interested, but it wasn't meant to be. No. And here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about this. Reigns gets to win, and then you see a shot to the audience for a split second before it comes back, like they didn't mean to, like they were looking for, a crowd pop shot. Mm-hmm. And then they show the audience literally just getting up and leaving. No, yay, no kids cheering, no women cheering.
What were the chants that were going on during this match? This is boring, this is awful, delete, beat the traffic.
I actually missed that one.
Yeah, beat the traffic. And that's what they're trying to do.
that's more a Massachusetts chant. Well, that could be any big city. But yeah.
This did not help Roman. It doesn't matter if he won. This hurt Joe.
It's like
not
oh my
help
God.
Roman.
It's like Inception, but with fedora.
The fedora, we're in the fedora.
Yeah, it's like wow, hat within a hat.
So congratulations, Roman. Once again, no one is glad you win.
No one.
You've lost. He's lost, and they could do it all they want, but it's just how it is.
It's sad, but it's true.
He'll lose. He'll win against anybody but Lesnar.
He will, and unfortunately,
and the moment he gets another championship opportunity, everyone's gonna boo again.
It's gonna be worse. No one's gonna care.
Yep.
And it's gonna be worse than booing. Booing implies a reaction, which is what Vince wants. If people are just sitting on their hands, like I've been saying for so long, indifference is Vince's kryptonite. He's not gonna be able to process the fact that people don't care about Reigns one way or the other.
Start booking the Samoan like a Samoan.
Exactly. I mean, here's the thing: who buys Roman struggling against someone like Vince, like Triple H, like Stephanie?
We discussed this before. Look at the anti-authority figures. We had
Daniel
Stone
Bryan.
Cold Steve Austin starts it off. First off is Bret Hart.
Well, yeah. Okay, well, I mean, because we're running a little short. Because Bret Hart, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk,
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Just to name a few.
Those
people we could buy being rebellious, being anti-authority. Reigns is one of the most beloved figures within the WWE corporation. No one buys him rallying against authority and feeling like he's having the screws put to him by Mandarin. No one buys that. Not for a second. Mm-hmm. And no one's made any bones about it, how beloved Reigns is by WWE management, by Vince. Okay? Bottom line, the longer Vince continues to not pull the trigger that he should have pulled 3 years ago, either with putting the championship on Reigns or turning him heel, as long as he continues not to pull the trigger, it's going to reflect worse on him, it's going to reflect badly on Reigns, and it's going to reflect badly on WWE.
I already don't care if he turns heel. I really don't anymore.
I'll
be interested to see what he does, but I'm not going to pop for it. I'm going to be like, well, it's about time. And that's all it'll get out of me.
Possibly.
And that is the biggest crime there is here.
Exactly. All right. So that was all for our Backlash pay-per-review. Okay, so next week we'll just have we'll be back to our regularly scheduled.
God, it feels like it's been forever.
It has. It's been a few weeks. It feels like it's been forever and ever and ever and ever.
Please do not come out and start saying there's going to be a new event that's going to happen here, and now we have less than a week to
we have to go halfway across the world again. Oh, please, no. Okay.
We need to unwind.
So very much. We need a reprieve from last week's reprieve.
Very true.
We need a reprieve now. All right. So anyway, that is all for episode 217. We will be back next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Indeed we will.
For Nick Giglio, for Mr. Dan Kaufman, for everyone at Bedford TV and the Wrestling Connection. I am Ken Hill, your connection to the wrestling world, reminding you, as always, to be connected.
Get connected. Stay connected.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everyone. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's some things that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the wrestling connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da da dee da da doo, da 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 dee da doo.
Oh yeah!